It's your boy Messiah the Poet. You dig? And we on Yin and Yang Podcast, the best place that you would ever want to be, because we're going to give you the knowledge, we're going to give you the wisdom, and we're going to give you the understanding. You better believe it. It's your boy Messiah the Poet. You dig? And it's
Teacher King, your boy E.
And it's Teacher King. He might be talking a little slow right now and soft-spoken. I don't know what that's about, but we're going to get into the real nitty-gritty here. You hear me? Right now, we're going to be talking about relationships, right? Why men and women be in relationships, right? And some people call women gold diggers because they choose to pick a guy that have a certain standards, that make a certain amount of money. So we would call them gold diggers, okay? And it was Lil Baby's baby mother that had an incident where she had a baby by Lil Baby. Then she pregnant now by a basketball player, right? And people in the comments was tearing her up. They were going at her, calling her gold diggers and all that, right? So she reversed it on them. She said, would it be fair if I started talking about y'all in the comments saying you choose to deal with a man that's broken, don't have no money, you had another child so you can get an extra $300 on food stamps, or you had dealt with this other man just so you could get Section 8, or you dealt with this other man so you can get some type of low-income housing. Like, I could be doing all that. So she was going in that. Not in quote, y'all, don't quote me, but that's what she was basically saying. That you picked a guy just so your kids could be a bum. Like, that's what you did? You picked the guy so your kids could be in poverty? So what I'm saying is today we're going to talk about that, relationships, and why you should pick good relationships, and why you got to make sure your significant other is well-groomed, well put together, and things of that nature. So, Teacher King, can you elaborate on this topic right here about what I just talked about?
Well, we had this discussion a little bit yesterday, and for whatever reason, it didn't come out the way that it was supposed to come out. I mean, for the sake of the topic's idea, we're trying to figure out what's the right way to think, how people think, why they think that way, and is it valid for whoever thinks however they think, is it valid for them to be able to think that way? I mean, there's a lot of variables in place, but I mean, we need to get to the core of the situation. I don't know Lil Baby. I heard his name. I know a lot of the young kids, especially those that's like.
Well, again, this topic is not about Lil Baby or his baby mother, right? The topic is thinking. Right, it's about the thinking pattern of the people that went up under her comments, basically bashing her, calling her a gold digger, right? Because she had a baby by Lil Baby who's a millionaire, and now she's having a baby by a basketball player who's also a millionaire.
So it is about them because they're the prime example.
No, well, it's not based. This topic can't be based about them.
It's not based on Lil Baby and whoever his children's mother is.
It's not.
But it is based on the thinking that is highlighted because of what they're going through.
Right, so we don't have to keep using them, is what I'm saying. We just want to talk about the relationships and why do people think that way on both sides of the fence. So I want you to elaborate on that. However you want to elaborate, you can. Teach the people.
Here's my thing. Why do the Lil Babies and the little Taishas, Janes, Carries, whatever you name them, why do they think the way that they think? This is what I want to get to the bottom of. And I don't want to just go into just dropping off information based on. I want you to speak on, and then I want you to ask me the question. You asked me a question, but you didn't give me enough information on the question that you want me to ask. Like, what is it that you want to know? I mean, we got a bunch of women running around here across the planet, especially in Western Black America. And their thinking is to be questioned. Men, black men, Western Black American men, thinking to be questioned based on. There's no argument in that because we under the bottom of the foot. I don't care if you got a few more dollars or a lot less dollars. I don't care where you been, if you've been to Wall Street or you've been to Attica. It is what it is. So what I need for you to do is give me a little bit more insight and understand on what is it that you require from me to answer.
Okay. What I want you to do is to speak to the people and educate the people on this topic, dealing with relationships, why our people view other women that go after men that Samuel, what is his name? Kevin Samuels would say is a high, what would they say, Ty? They call them high value men. So when you think of a high value man, right? Mm-hmm. Why do women go for the high value man, right? And why do other women go for men that's in poverty and have baby by men in poverty, knowing the results of having a baby by this guy who you know is a drug dealer? Hey, reading the light here. So here you go. So when you know that this guy, you know he's a drug dealer, you know he got about 3 to 5 years before he go to jail or get killed. But you'd rather have a baby by him knowing that you're going to be raising a bastard child, right? So with that being said, do you really get upset with a person, a female that goes for a high-value man that wants the best for her child? She wants the best for her child. So I'm looking at it different now. I'm no longer looking at women as gold diggers anymore. I'm looking at women that's thinking for the future of their offspring. And the reason why I have to stop that way of thinking is because of the little baby's baby mother situation. The way she broke that down was so great because she said it like she could have attacked them for living in poverty, having babies by people that didn't have no money. So you had a baby just to have a baby in poverty. And you're mad at me for going after men that that's basically high value men. How could you get mad at me? I don't want no guy that I'm gonna have a baby by, and then I have a baby by him, then he's a bum, he get killed, he go to jail, I'm left with the baby. The baby is in a poor environment. Like, come on, let's make it make sense. So I'm no longer, your boy Messiah the Porter is no longer looking at women as gold diggers, but I would say this. If you come at me, and you coming at me, and you got your hand out like this here, you could be a gold digger all you want. I'm just going to take that shovel from you and clunk you upside your head with it. You won't be digging over here.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking, y'all.
Let me say this, right? Joking, but
serious matter.
Right, on a serious note, right?
Being facetious.
Say the sister has her hand out, and her mindset is, I'm not a gold digger, but I have a need. And I'm coming with my best foot forward. And my best foot forward is honesty. And says, look, I've had these relationships. I've been there, I've done that, or I've had an idea about it. I never accomplished it, whatever. But this is what my situation is in need of right now. My hands are open. And I need you to put something in it. I know a few things, I heard a few things, I've been taught a few things. The things that I think about and the things that I've been taught, they don't add up the way they're supposed to. I'm looking for the man, I'm looking for the person on the other end of the table to play their part. But based on what I understand and what I think, I'm not getting that. But nevertheless, I'm here. I'm here. And I'm honest. Now, do a lot of sisters or a lot of men present themselves and say it that way to say, look, bro, I got 3 kids. all 3 of my baby fathers is terrible. 2 of them been to jail, 1 of them dead.
Okay, but that's a choice that they made, correct?
We're not dealing with just the fact that they made choice. We can get there.
But we want the solution to prevent that.
See, but you're trying to get me again. Yesterday, I spoke to this.
No, but you have to redo it.
No, it's not even just redoing it. You still have the same mindset, and maybe you're just readdressing it. But you're expecting me to do that without addressing the situation in its proper compartments. I want to deal with that.
Okay, so then reiterate what you said yesterday.
I'm going to.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, but you can't get me to do it when you want me to do it. You have to allow the process to play out. And this is what I said yesterday. This is the problem, especially with Western Black America. We don't know the process. We don't like the process. We can't endure the process. And when we become aware of the process, we run, we scared, and we tuck our tail. Why? Because we want it and we like it the way we want it. We want immediate gratification.
Instant gratification.
We were talking earlier. And listen, this is not this. Yes, it is. It is a recovery conversation. Not just recovery from drugs, but recovery from stinking thinking.
Yeah, bring it out.
People, places, things, ideas, intentions, perceptions, motives. Underscore behaviors.
So is it fair to say, right, that our conditions, right, here you go. So is it fair to say that our conditions, right, we're suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome? And because of what happened to our ancestors, and we are the offspring of our ancestors, right? And because we were raped, robbed of everything, right? A lot of people say that we should not blame our conditions on the white man. But sometimes I beg to differ, because if you give everybody else reparations except us reparations, I have a problem with that, because I feel as though we deserve reparations because we built this country. We built this land. Yes, we built it. Our ancestors built it. My grandmother was part of building it. You understand? So we are in these situations and we are suffering. They give people drugs for post-traumatic slave syndrome or post-traumatic stress syndrome. Let me say post-traumatic stress syndrome. People of war. So when they go to war, they go to the VA hospital, all these things, and they take care of these people. These people are shell-shocked and all those type of things. So these people are suffering, so they take care of these people. So I want to say that we as a people, black people in particular, and Hispanics, we are suffering, right? And we in poverty. What do we need? We don't need Band-Aid programs. I'm tired of Band-Aid programs. I'm tired of them using COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program, to bring us down. So that's why they have all of these podcasts where they have people on the podcasts infiltrating us. And that's why I don't want to go into the dirty section of YouTube. And the dirty section of YouTube, shout out to Hassan Campbell, because that's where I got that from. But the people in those sections, they're part of COINTELPRO. They want to bring us down. We already in poverty. We already suffering. So I want solutions. We need solutions. So we are taught to attack any one of us that's trying to do better for ourselves and for our kids. We are taught to condemn them, bring them down, give them a reality check. Forget that dude, forget her. She's trying to get a come up. He trying to get a come up. We want to break that cycle, Teacher King. That's what we want to do. Break the cycle.
So, I mean, on an elementary level, without trying to get too deep, and just be a great speaker, a great orator, to break the cycle, we got to figure out what's going on. You can't just, you can want to break the cycle because you recognize there is a cycle.
But what is going on?
And that's what I'm getting to. But what is going on? How did we get here? There's a portion of scripture that talks about after Elijah got into it with Ahab and Jezebel, his wife. Jezebel was a chick that was off the hook, and Ahab was a king, and he was a punk. He was a punk. He was a sucker for love, sucker for the relationship. And whatever his wife said, he went and he did exactly what it is that she put on the table. And based on what we have in information and what we even see in these relationships today, we see sometimes that we allow the sister or we allow somebody, but in this case, we're talking about sister, to put the battery in the back, and we just wind up doing anything. We've seen it. We've seen men wind up dead over it. We've seen men try to go accomplish things because of it and come up short. We've seen men go out and set out to accomplish things and come up and win because of it. But the point is this here. How did we get here? Jeremiah... No, we're not even get to Jeremiah. We're going to stay on Elijah for now. So Elijah gets into this issue because he's dealing with what we're having a conversation with right now, which is stinking thinking. And the stinking thinking is coming out of the minds and the mouths of the leadership. But the problem is Ahab and Jezebel. But Jezebel is more the problem than Ahab is in this particular conversation. Big beef comes up. There's a difference in between what they talking about and what Elijah's talking about. So Elijah says, all right, cool. You got all of this to say. You doing all of this. You're making all this confusion. You got all of this control. All of these things are out of place and they out of order. But I've come to stand against the things that are holding the people hostage and the things that are hurting the people and the things that are holding us back from getting what's on the table or on the table, what's better for us as opposed to what you offering and you got us in, which is worse for us and bad for us. So he gets into a contention in between them. They go get their advisory councils, the people they getting their information from, their guest men, whatever. Elijah gets into a contention with him. He handles the business. He lets it be known what he's saying is in superiority to what they're talking about. Cool. A little bit down the line, something else happens. But now Jezebel is mad. The female, she's hot. She's hot because Elijah is standing against what it is that she's talking about, what it is that she's doing, the mindset, the indoctrination, the environment that she wants and that she has been imposing upon the people. She's mad now. So she says, you know what? I'm going to kill this dude. I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to get rid of him, and I'm going to get rid of him and anybody that talks, speaks, or thinks like him. He just got into a situation with them, and I'm not going to go through the whole story, but he had just won a major contention between him and a bunch of other people that didn't think the way that he thought. But when this female got out of place, he decides to run. He just won. But then when this woman gets involved, he ran. And he went into a place and he's sitting there and he's standing there and he's like, okay, this is what I was supposed to do because whatever, just get into the thinking. And then his conscience is having meditations. He's in a place and truth begins to speak to him. He said, bro, what are you doing here? How did you get here? Who told you to come here? Same thing in the Garden of Eden. Who told you you were naked? Who indoctrinated your mind to this? How did you get to this point? And I said all that to say this is the question that you asked. You're right in asking the question. How are we there? How did we get here? What is the issue? But when we start dealing with that issue, again, like I said yesterday, you can't put the cart before the horse. You can't do that. Let me rephrase that. You could do that, but if you keep doing that, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. Jeremiah said this: root out, pull down, destroy, throw down, build and plant. Jeremiah 1, 9, and 10. It's the process of coming out. It's the process of deliverance. It's the process of being healed. But if you don't get to the foundation, if you don't get to the core, if you don't get the cancer out from the root, the cancer will still exist. And even though you might have took some medication, even though you might have had a couple of operations, you still sick. So what I'm saying is this right here. If we really want to have that conversation, do we want to go there? But don't expect to start at third base when you didn't even go to first base, and you expecting for the umpire to put you there. You didn't pick up the bat. You didn't get a pitch. You didn't get hit with the ball. You just got an idea in your mind that that's where you want to be at. So please do me a favor and place me on third base. Nah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Okay. So this is what I say, right, to that, right? The solutions are present. It's about us utilizing the proper solutions to better our community, right? So you take these situations, right, of the offspring, and you have to educate, re-educate the thinking of the mothers, the fathers, the grandmothers, the grandfathers. You have to wipe it clean. And you have to let the children that's being born today, let them know this is how we doing it in today's society. So the children say, hey, well, I'm going to school. Okay, you take them to school. Oh, this is what we need the teachers to teach them. And I understand that they don't teach outside of their curriculum. I understand that. But that's when you as the mother and father and grandmother and grandmama will teach them at home the things that they don't teach them in school.
But you said you want solutions. Let me cut you off for a second.
Hold on. Let me finish. So what I'm saying is they have to have these children. When they have these children, they go to school. By the time they in the fourth grade or fifth grade, they should be teaching them how to bank. So they should teach them the banking. They should teach them, they should teach them about banking. They should teach them about people, places, and things. I'm talking about this is all in the fourth grade.
You can't even teach them to keep their pants up and put a belt on. Right. How you going to teach them about banking?
Well, listen, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Well, if they don't have the mindset of these type of things, because the people that is teaching them this is not teaching them how to cuss. It's not teaching them how to have sex. They're not letting them watch this. They're not letting them watch that. Let me finish because I let you burn. And I really let you burn. But I understand my tongue is a sword, but when you remove the S, it becomes the word, so it cuts the same. So let me finish. So what I'm saying is I was on to something. Come here. So I'm on to something, and I don't really want to be cut off because I want the people, the audience, to get this wisdom that I'm giving out, right? If we have these children, right, the ladies should pick a better man to be a provider. The man should pick a better woman to be a nurturer, right? The mother and the grandmother, they should be re-educated, right? When they go to school, the school system should be teaching them, hey, listen, and I understand they cannot teach outside of their curriculum, but when you get home, this is what we're going to do every day, Monday through Friday for 2 hours. We home teach them. So you let them know, let the kids know, hey, listen, in school, they taught you how to deal with banking. They could teach you with stock. They could teach you about real estate, housing, all of this stuff they could start teaching you in school, right? When you get home, your mama, your father educate you more about it. And the children should not be watching these so-called comedy shows or what they call them, cartoons, where it's showing you all of this sexual, explicit stuff, and it shouldn't watch that. They should be mindful of what they watch. They should teach them to watch stuff that's educated. They should let them know about the community and have town hall meetings and let everyone know, hey, we're going to have town hall meetings every week, and we need to know what our children was doing for the week. And we need our children to speak. Yes, have your children speak at 8 years old, 10 years old. Tell them what the problems is in school. Is it a bully going on? Is it this going on? What's going on? Let us know. And then we get to elaborate And we go to those schools and we check them. And then we have our neighbors doing the same thing. Hey, listen, this is what we're doing. This is what we want to make sure the community is safe. And this is what our children is doing. Things of that nature. You understand what I'm saying? This is all I'm saying. We want solutions, proper solutions. And we need these solutions to get out, family. And that's just what it is. I'm going to pass the mic back to Teacher King. Teacher King, give him some more knowledge.
Okay, listen. We've been going around a little bit in circles, but we have been traveling. And that's cool. We have been traveling, right? But one of the things that you said...
Stop going in circles.
One of the things that you said was getting the people to think different. And one of the analogies that came up in my mind was the Men in Black syndrome. And whenever something happened that they didn't want the people to remember Jay... his agent, they would come with the little beam on the light and they would hit the flash and make everybody forget what happened.
Right.
And you talked about wiping the slate clean. I agree with you, but I agree with additional information. 1 Corinthians 14. If any prophesy, let him prophesy by 2 or 3. If anything be revealed to the next, let the first hold his peace. Nevertheless, let every word be confirmed by the mouth and out of the word of 2 or 3. Meaning you just don't talk based on what you say. You say something, you let the other individuals say it. You let individuals read it, fight it, box it out. Iron sharpen it, iron, you get it straight. So here's the thing. You saying that the children should be taught this, right? This is what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. Now let me ask you a question: who's going to teach it to them?
I just told you that the parents would teach it to them,
okay, now,
and the grandparents,
okay,
the mother, the father, and the grandmother and the grandfather.
Excellent, Paul.
They have to be re-educated.
Respectfully. Now you trying to re-educate an old dog and teach him new tricks. An old dog can learn new tricks if the old dog is willing.
Yeah, the problem is that they're teaching the youth. The youth don't know anything besides what they're being taught.
I'm not going to be able to do that. You're gonna keep.
No, you said. Let me ask you a question. Well, you asked me a question, and my rebuttal.
It was rhetorical.
Okay, so go ahead.
It was rhetorical.
Okay, well, I was just responding to you asking the question.
Okay, cool. You expecting the kids to get an education from a people that don't want to be educated. You have fathers, mothers, grandfathers, grandmothers, and generations of individuals that collectively, largely so, not everybody, their mindset is mind your business, don't tell me what to do, don't tell me what to think, don't tell me what to do with my children, don't have a judgment, don't have an opinion, don't have anything about what I got going on over here. So you talking about reaching the children that are 7 trillion miles away because of what's involved and what's in the way. And what's in the way are the things that should be there, but they're the problem. One of the reasons why you had to wait 40 years in the wilderness for all the elders to get killed off. Why? Because they was bad for business. They didn't want to allow for the maturity to come so that the situation could change. So all of this conversation about all these things happening, if you ain't willing to take Uncle Sammy out back and put a bullet in his head, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, here. Okay, that's how he see it fit, right? Well, this is how your brother Messiah the Poet see it fit. And I don't want to be cut off. I want to get this out. Is y'all ready for this? I said, is y'all ready for this? This is Messiah the Poet. And I'm gonna give you a heavy dose of this, right? And this is to what he was saying. Let me elaborate. Because he wanted to speak from scripture. Let me allow myself to speak. I want to speak
at the foundation. We speaking in the streets right now. Go ahead.
And I want to speak in scripture. I know he have a problem with cutting me off, but that's just what it is.
Okay.
So y'all ready for this heavy dose? Oh, okay. Y'all are ready. Okay, here you go. Now let's go to the book, into the Bible, because the Bible is just Bible. It's just basic instructions before leaving Earth.
There you go.
It's basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Okay, so let's follow some instructions.
Now, is you gonna allow me to speak? I'm just gonna get this off. Mm-hmm. So it's Bible Ellie, basic instructions before leaving Earth. So we're going to go where? We're going to go to the book of Ezekiel, 37. Okay. Now, the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Ezekiel, right? He said, I don't need the book. I have it here. So in the book of Ezekiel, he says, he asks him, he says to Ezekiel, do you think these dry bones will ever live again?
And what he said? He said, thou knowest.
He said, only thou. Let me finish.
You know.
Yo, let me finish. But that's not fair that you're doing this, but I get it. Let me finish, because you're going to speak.
Well, you pointing at me like you were.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not pointing at you.
Okay.
But I get you. Because I know that my voice travels at the speed of 1,120 feet per second, and it can really touch a nerve. So let me wake these dry bones up over here. In the book of Ezekiel 37, it says, thy Lord, he said, do you ever think these bones will live again? He said, only you know that, thy Lord. This is what he said. He said, Ezekiel, I need you to prophesy against them dry bones. Ezekiel began to prophesy against them dry bones, and he heard a rattling sound. Did he or did he not? Yes, he did. He heard a rattling sound. So Ezekiel prophesies against the dry bones again. Ezekiel began to prophesy against the dry bones began to come together. When those dry bones began to come together, he saw that they were together. So he said, oh God, he said, prophesize again and bring forth light into these dry bones. What was he talking about? Who was he speaking of? He's speaking of the fornicators. He's speaking of the uneducated. He's speaking of the fake prophets. He's speaking of the people that's doing gambling, murdering, all of the stuff you can think of, the people that do not want to educate the people. That's who he's speaking of. So I said that we need to reboot the mother, the father, the grandmother, and the grandfather so that they can teach and prophesize against the youth so the youth can raise up and the youth will be whole again and the youth will be one and the youth will be God's. The reason why we are God's, and you got to acknowledge that you God, because it tells you that you God all through the Bible. Yes, it does.
That sounds good.
No, that's a fact. Because in Philippians chapter 2, verse 5, it says this. Yes. In Philippians chapter 2, verse 5, it says this. It says, let this mind be within you that was also in Christ Jesus. Do not consider it robbery to be equal with God, but took no reputation to coming in the form and the likeness of man, and he humbled himself. I'll say it again. He said, let this mind be within you that was also in Christ Jesus. Do not consider it robbery to be equal with God, but took no reputation of coming in the form and the likeness of man, and he humbled himself. That's what he said. In Psalms 82, what did he say? He said, ye are all gods and children of the Most God, children of the Most High God.
Make sure he brought this up.
In John chapter 34, verse 10, he said, did I tell you that ye are all gods and children of the Most High God? What are we talking about here, We talking about we as being gods. We can rebuke. We could change the mindset of the elders. We could change the mindset of the mother and father and the grandmother and the grandfather so that the offspring will get knowledge of self. And once you get knowledge of self and knowing that you are God, you will move like God. You would think like God. Whenever you get in a situation, the first thing you need to do is what? What would God do in this situation? And when you do that, you're going to come out prospering. But if you think with your lower self, and your lower self, which is who? Satan, the first thing you do is you get yourself in what? More trouble. It's hard to get out of it, but it's so easy to get in trouble. That's why we still in bondage right now. We're suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome, brother. And we need solutions.
No,
so I don't think we need to get rid of the elder. Okay, go ahead and speak then.
First of all,
let him speak, y'all.
A portion of it is post-traumatic slave syndrome. But before we were slaves, we were enslaved to our thinking. We just didn't get enslaved because we just woke up one morning and said, oh, we're just going to let you enslave us. A process happened. Something happened in the midst of that. But I want to get to this because you're all over the place, and it's kind of hard having this conversation with you because sometimes you make me laugh, right? You made me laugh. You seriously laugh. but you just be like, pow, 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 and just like the Little Rascals. It was like, cannons on the left of me, pow, pow, pow. Cannons on the right of me, pow, pow, pow. So it's bullets coming from everywhere. That's cool.
But I stayed on topic.
Kinda.
I stayed on topic. If it was bullets coming from everywhere, at least it was still a bullet. It was still a bullet, ladies and gentlemen.
What you did, it was a bullet, but it was a magic bullet. It was a David Blaine bullet. That's what it was. It was a magic bullet.
It was the hocus pocus.
Right, it was a John F. Kennedy bullet. It was a bullet that went 19 different ways and came out of one gun. It went that way, then it came back this way. It was a smart bullet. Right, got it. Serious business, right? You talked about Ezekiel, so let's do this.
Who was Ezekiel talking about?
We're not even going to talk about. We're going to say what was he talking about before we talk about who he was talking about.
Speak then, God.
Ezekiel chapter 37. And the hand, it says Lord. When you hear Lord, I'm going to say Spirit of Truth.
It can't hear.
Can you hear me?
No, now you could if you were in the mic.
Ezekiel 37. This is a chapter of scripture that he chose to just throw out there. And so I want to read. I don't know how much of it I'm going to read, but I'm going to get to the point. Just bear with me. When you hear Lord, I'm going to say the Spirit of Truth. Because that, if you're going to associate anything with the presence, the mind, the being of God, you're going to get to the information that is highly likely, things that can be vetted and be proven that are more likely to be so than are not. From the original intention, the original idea, the original concept, and inside scripture, inside the house of ministry, I think they would call these things under the umbrella of predestination, even though a lot of people don't know what predestinated is about, but I'm telling you. Ezekiel chapter 37. And the hand of the Spirit of truth was upon me and carried me out in the spirit, in the presence of the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of holiness, the Father, the one, even the Father of Jesus, Isa, Yahshua the Christ, and set me down in the midst of a valley which was full of bones. So in this place where he is, there's something there, but what's there doesn't have life in it. It's quiet. It's still. It's been rendered almost virtually unuseful. It can't do anything. It can't move on its own. It can't come back on its own. It can't regenerate itself on its own. Nevertheless, there is a way. There is a way for these things to live again, as he so vividly put it. Messiah so vividly put it. He said, and he caused me to pass by them round about. He passed me to go through all of these places where the dead bones were. He passed me. He allowed me to go through the hood. He allowed me to go through the homes. He allowed me to go through the church. He allowed me to go through the mosque. He allowed me to go through here. He allowed me to go through there. He allowed me to pass through the valley of all these places where all these dead carcasses and all of these things that once had life on it don't have life anymore. They're dead. They're dormant. They're inoperable. They can't catch anything. They can't do anything. Go ahead.
But he definitely was speaking in parables, symbolically.
Listen,
so they wasn't really dead.
Listen, sir, I'm doing the speaking.
Okay,
right
go
now,
ahead.
right?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Just to address that in a space, you could say that. But he definitely, right now, he's speaking to the dead. He's speaking to the dead.
He
I
is.
Don't care.
No, he is, but they're spiritually dead.
Listen, they spiritually, mentally, physically, economically, and
they're not. They wasn't physically dead.
Sir.
They wasn't physically dead.
Sir. At this point, whether or not he was speaking metaphorically, or not, we are aware that whether they were not physically dead, you can associate it with them being physically dead.
Yes, you can.
All right, then. So we ain't got to talk. We
Speaking
good.
to the mic.
So we good. And he caused me to pass them round about. He caused me to come into places where these things that were dead, spiritually, physically, metaphorically, maybe, might be, looking like, suitably, whatever you want to call it. And behold, there were very many in the open valley. So it don't matter what type of dead you was talking about. We got a whole bunch of dead. Just like we do in the community, just like we do on the earth, whether it be those that's in the graveyard. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you need to closer to the mic. Yeah.
This is the mic, the front of it.
This is the mic.
Yeah.
I thought this whole situation here.
Nah,
So
right
this
here.
is just for the look.
Maybe.
Okay. We got a bunch of dead folks. Mentally, economically, spiritually, emotionally, and any other LLY that you could put on a word, we got it. Disagree?
I agree.
Okay. He said, there are very many in the open valley, in the place where we found them, in the earth, in the city, in the community, in the workplace, in the government, wherever that is. And lo, they were very dry. So not only were they dead, but just all of the substance that was in them, whether you want to talk about bones, you want to talk about calcium, nutrients, all those different things, they're there, they're dry. It's done.
Facts. But he also said prophesies against the dry bones.
We're going to talk about that. We didn't get there yet.
Okay.
We didn't get there yet. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? So the angel of the spirit of truth that's having this conversation with the prophet, the information of truth is having a conversation with the prophet in his mind, whether it's a vessel there, whatever it is, dream, vision, there's another body there, whatever it is, the information is saying to him, is revival possible? Can the community live? Can black folks be saved? Can the earth be saved? Can white folks be saved? Can the Mexicans that they keep shipping across the border over there, whether it be righteously or unrighteously, can this situation be fixed? Can these governments be fixed? Can we get out of this situation where we are receiving things that hurt and that are uncomfortable? Can it be changed that it be for our better and not for our worse? Can that happen? He says to him, thou knowest, Lord.
Only you know that, thy Lord.
Only truth knows.
Right.
Only the truth knows who can live and who cannot.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Cool. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these dry bones live? And I answered, O Spirit of truth, O God, thou knowest. And again he said unto me, prophesy unto these dry bones. Prophesy means to reveal the information unto those that are listening or those that need to hear what is necessary for them to hear so that they can have it, so that they can respond, be, or have, or be equipped with what's necessary for them to go from where they are to where they need to be. Hence, that's the role of a prophet. That's the elementary version. Again, he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones and say unto them, there's a specific information that needs to be spoken to these individuals. But the individuals need to be in an area where they will respond. But see, the difference in between these bones and us is you still got people walking around that still have control over their thinking. You understand? See, a dead man is easier to talk to than a live man. Because a live man still got his own free will and his choice about him. A dead man can't do nothing but be dead except information and the ability be given to him for him to come out of his state. But yet he can't do nothing for himself. A live man got an issue. He talks too much. He thinks too much. He does too much. That's a hindrance. Like you were talking about the children. We want the children to be fixed, but in order to get to the children, two things got to happen. Either you got to win the parents or you got to get the parents out of the way. Hence, one of the things that the government has always known. The powers that be have always known. Why do you think they work so hard to keep a separation in between the child and the parent? Why do you think they work so hard, especially in the black community, to keep the nucleus of what a family is, which is father and mother and child? Why do you think they work so hard? Because where confusion is, where distraction is, people, where it is, listen, where it is, it's easier to subdue an individual. It's easier to conquer a person. It's easier to take advantage of a person. And they know this. We the ones that don't understand it. We the ones that don't understand it. You want the dry bones to live again, the first thing is you got to be able to speak to them. That's the first thing he told them, right? Speak to them. But how can you have a conversation with somebody when you got something in the way blocking the conversation? So when you're talking about solutions, this is one of the things that I wanted to get to. And I'm not going to go. We're going to start right here at the foundation. Conversation needs to happen. And there's information that needs to be passed from one place to the other, right? But when there's a wall in the way, like when people was locked up, you know how I do. There's a wall in the way. What you do? You try to find a way to get your information to the next person. So what do? First thing you try to do is speak through the vents, right? Climb up on the toilet. Get on the floor. Yo. Yeah, whatever. That don't work. Next thing is kite. Now you throwing notes out. Now you got to fish to get the information so that you can have a conversation and that you can relate or have a relationship with the person that's so distant because there's, again, something in between you. That something right now is us adults. Ain't no deliverance going to come, really, except two ways. Either the adults begin to acknowledge the fact that they are in the way and take the steps for them to get out of the way. So not that the fact that they can get healed, but that there can be a future for their children, or you got to take the adults out of the way. And it's as simple as that. We don't got to go through the whole scripture right now. The point is to deal with that part. There needs to be a conversation with that which is dead, but there's something in the way. Information and people holding the information from getting from destination A to destination C. B's a problem. But you can't skip the process. So we got to do something with B. Or we got to do something with A, B, and C. But right now, we got to do something with that which is hindering us from accomplishing or having a better opportunity at accomplishing the goal. Somebody got to go. Now, do we really want to deal with that as Western Black America? How many parents are willing to walk the plank for their children? How many people are really willing to walk the plank for the movement? How many people in the hood are willing to say, I'm not going to sell drugs to my mother no more because this freedom that I'm saying I want and this stuff that I'm complaining about, saying the system is against me, saying I can't accomplish anything, I can't get nothing done, nothing can't be better. Am I willing to say I'm going to put me to the side so that me can have an opportunity to win? I think not. And that's the reason why I said, if you ain't willing to take Uncle Willie back outside in the backyard, unfortunately and unwillingly, to put something in his head to get him out of the way, whether it be information or a bullet, are you willing to do that? We ain't willing to do that. And that's why truth got to do what it's doing now. What's happening right now is a lot of the elders, just like in the wilderness, the 40 years, we being taken out of the way because we're in the way.
Okay. So I say this, right, for that, right? The Black Panthers in the 60s, right?
Right.
They police the community.
Right.
So I think it needs to go back to that. Now they have gang members. They have Bloods, they have Crips, the Etas, whatever you want to call it, right? And they're not doing their due diligence, right? They were supposed to police the community and help the community. But now you do have some out there that's trying to police the community, going to the schools, you know, and
still a problem.
It's right. Yes, I was going to say that. So it's still a problem, right? But here's the thing. They are trying. Now, they get an E for effort because they're definitely trying. And I see some of them. I see they work ethics, and I applaud some of them.
Intentions.
Because they are trying.
Right.
You know, these people out in the community, these gang members, are trying to clean up the community. So I give them an E for effort because they're trying. It has to start from somewhere. It has to be a spark to start the fire.
But that's starting from somewhere. We've been doing that for decade after decade,
right,
century after century.
Right.
Like at some point, like you said, we got to be willing to scrap the board. We got to go back to ground zero.
Right. But here's the thing. We have to have, like what you said, we have to have the people that's willing to take them out in the backyard. Either, I don't suggest putting a bullet in their head, but I do suggest get them wise words of encouragement to change. If they do not change, then the change from the bullet comes out into their brain. So
but
that's
they terrible too. The man with the gun terrible too.
No.
Right.
But you're right.
Go ahead.
You're right. But this is what I'm saying. We need the Sojourner Truth, the Harriet Tubmans, especially the Harriet Tubmans, because Harriet Tubman knew and understand that, hey, I can't let this one go back. And why I can't let this one go back?
Because she didn't want to get caught.
Right. No.
Not because it was just good for the movement.
Hold on.
It was the fact that if she goes back, if she let that person survive, it wasn't just about the movement. Let's keep it real.
No, yes, it was about the movement.
Harriet Tubman was like, listen, you know if you let that person go back and you out here trying to do this, they're going to tell. And when the first person they're going to tell on is you.
Okay.
So don't act like Harriet Tubman wasn't selfish too.
Okay, so let me get here. So I'm not gonna let you do Harriet Tubman like that.
I'm
so
not gonna do it like that.
But I let you speak for a long time.
Okay, go ahead.
She'll tell you. So Harriet Tubman, first of all, right? She operated with the Quakers, right? With the Underground Railroad, for those that don't know, right? But she learned something. And what did she learn? She's learned something from who? Denmark Vesey, Gabrielle Prosser. Yeah, she did. Nat Turner. They still upset about my boy Nat Turner. So what happened in the process? She learned. In Denmark Vesey, a guy took a pair of shoes to infiltrate COINTELPRO to tell on them. Same thing with Gabrielle Prosser, Denmark Vesey, and guess who learned from that? Nat Turner. He said, hold on, I'm going to act now. He went house to house and started taking them out. And they upset about that still to this day, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. So Harriet Tubman learned that whole, I can't let this person go back. And the key word she said that still exists and very powerful to this day, I would have freed more if only they knew that they were slaves. That was her words, and it's very powerful, and that's very powerful. So you can't sit here and discredit Harriet Tubman and say she just didn't want to get caught, because I'm going to tell you like this. Her being part of the process was her putting her life on the line regardless. So it didn't matter. She knew what she was getting herself into. That's why she was executing them.
And I'm not disagreeing with
right. So you can't discredit her. So what I'm saying is we need people like Harriet Tubman.
Why? When nobody ain't willing to learn.
Okay, I can tell
That's
you this.
the problem.
The people here is willing to learn. And
well, then what happened? How we get from Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner to where we are right now when we have all those great examples? That's what I'm trying. You talking about solutions?
Right.
That's what we got to reconcile.
And that's a fact that you say that, but how did we get there? We got there with COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program.
Stop blaming the government.
No, it is.
They helped.
Okay.
They helped, but they found our weakness.
Okay, so
they had what they call Balaam and Balak.
Okay.
Balak wanted the children of Israel dead. He wanted them out of the way. He went to the prophet. He said, help me out. He said, go. He said, I know you got a relationship with supernatural things. I know you got a contact with information. I need you to find out how I can handle these people that's in my way. You do that for me, and I'm going to bless you. Balaam went to the spirit of truth. He did his numbers. You want to call it whatever. He prayed, fasted, talked, meditated, lit a fire, smoked a joint, ate a scroll, ate a mushroom, whatever it was. Talked with the aliens. Listen.
So you said you don't believe in the COINTELPRO.
Listen, I didn't say that I don't believe in the COINTELPRO. I said the COINTELPRO is a part of what helped facilitate the problem, but they are not the priority. That's what I'm saying.
But they are, though.
Let me finish.
All black organizations get taken down by their own brother man, not the other man.
I ain't even going to be
Every brother ain't a brother because of color.
Give me like
could also be working with the other brother.
Right, but here's the thing. So, Balaam came back to Balak because he wanted that money. He wanted to come up. No matter whatever his reason was for, he wanted to come up. He said, listen, can you do it for me? He said, look, man. He said, I tried. He said, but the answer came up. I can't do nothing for you, man. He said, I can't. He said, I don't have no control over this. My gift and what I know how to do and what I have the ability to do, I went. I legitimately went because I want what I want, and I know I got a relationship or I got contact or I got access, but the answer is no. Balak the king said, man, go back again. He said, go back again. Balaam wanted it so bad because the king offered so much and so much was on the table, he went and asked the question again, like we do. No, we can't have it our way. We still got to go back and see if we can find a way, if we can manipulate a way just to get what we want, bad or good. Come back, he said, man, the answer's still the same. Went again, same situation. But finally, Balaam got smart. This is what we do, us. The dry bones that still got flesh on them now, that ain't out there in the graveyard. The
that's
ones
spiritually
not dead,
dead.
that's spiritually and physically dead. This is what we do. I got a plan. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. He said, that's what I could do. I can't curse them the way you want me to. But what I can tell you how to do is I can tell you how to get them to curse themselves. So he gave them the next best thing. The problem is that we were open and we were susceptible for that. It wasn't just the fact that he told the king how to catch him. He told them the weakness, the vulnerability that was already within the people. The problem ain't Balak. The problem ain't Trump. The problem ain't COINTELPRO. The problem ain't J. Edgar Hoover. The problem ain't the dude down the street. You know who the problem is? The person that you look at in the mirror. That's the problem. Right there. Everybody that get up in the morning and brush their teeth, that do, because it's a bunch of people that don't. Brush your teeth, wash your face, groom yourself, see your reflection in your car, your window, your mirror, your rear view mirror, somewhere. We are the problem. And that's what we got to stop doing. First of all, we got to get in our mind, blame game time is over. That's one of the things I wrote down. I've been dealing with this.
Oh, yeah, the blame game is over, but to solve any problem, you have to go to the source of the problem to solve it.
So
if you
who's
do
the
not,
source?
Right, so if you don't go to the source of the problem to solve, the source of the problem is the people that put us in these conditions, man.
No, the source of the problem is the people that accepted and that were vulnerable enough to accept the conditions. Because nobody, listen, even God will not force your free will, bro. One thing God will not do is he gave you the choice. And any God that gave you the choice and loads the game is not a God at all, and he's not who he say he is. He will not force you. He's a gentleman. You got a choice. That is the number one gift, saving from it, that every man got. It's the choice.
Okay, here. So let me speak. Because I'll give you a long one. I have to say this to that, right? I beg to differ because to solve any problem, you have to go to the source of the problem. And the only way you can do it is to do that. So if this government, right? And I'm not saying that we cannot rise without the government. We don't need handouts really from the government. But do they owe us reparations? Yes. What I'm saying to you is the Indians, every other ethnicity got their reparations and they're in better conditions than we are. That is a fact. Indians don't even have to pay taxes.
By design.
Right. So what is going on is that is by design, and is also design and genocide for us. So being that it's genocide for us not to succeed and win is all because of them. It's all by the legislation. They make laws every day to hinder us from getting to the next thing. And what do? We don't read those new laws that come out every day.
So get rid of all of them, then what?
Right.
If you get rid of all of that, right? And I heard you said to let you talk.
He's not going to let me talk. No. But when y'all watch this video, y'all will see I let him talk in abundance.
It doesn't matter, because sometimes you got to cut a person off. because enough is enough.
And this is why we in the
Trump.
And this is why we in the situation that we in.
Get rid
of people like you.
No.
Here's the mirror.
No, you don't. You can
Look in
put
the mirror
there, but
Look
now
in
listen
the mirror.
to the
You just
information
spoke
that's
about
coming
this.
out of the mirror, right?
You just spoke about this.
Get rid of Trump. Get rid of Elon Musk. Get rid of the Democrats. Get rid of the Republicans. Get rid of this so-called Aryan, white, Anglo-Saxon foot we got on our neck. Yes, they have been facilitated. Yes, they have been doing what they've doing for generations. Yes, they have found a way to expose the weakness that's within us. Wipe them all out, and guess what you still got? You got a bunch of people that still got stinking thinking. Even if they not there, we still got the thinking in us. It's us. It ain't them.
Where did we get that behavior from?
From ourselves?
No.
From ourselves?
No.
From ourselves?
No.
From ourselves?
Okay, so you telling me, hold on. So you telling me that you're acting the way you acting from your mother and father?
I'm acting the way that I'm acting.
No, answer the question.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to answer
No,
it.
I just want you to answer it straight.
I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to
No,
tell
you
you
got to
this.
talk in the mic.
Yes and no.
Okay, that's it. That's all I want you to say.
Yes and no.
E, you got to let me get mine off.
Okay, I say yes and no.
Okay, so you say yes or no, but the way you're talking is like you got it from your mother
I got this
and your
free
father.
will in them that came in his soul from me, yes. But guess what? And some of the knowledge. But at the end of the day, when I grow up.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell y'all this, right? I know this for a fact. If right now they took us and put 100 of us in a building with metal bars and gave us enough food for 30 days, right? And they only come back 90 days later. Only the strong will survive. And they will look at us when they finally open the door where it's defecation, everything everywhere. Because they put us in a building where there's no bathroom, no nothing, right? And they locked us in, barricaded us in, no utensils. They just left us food, right, for a month. They come back 90 days later. They open up the door. We done became cannibals and everything, right? Out of 100 people, you got 27 of us that live. And we dying of malnutrition. And they look at us and they call us cannibals. And they say, look at these people. Who did that? They did that to us by locking us in. And you going to tell me that that's us? No, that's not us. So when we go out there in the free world after this trauma, we go out there and now we starting to like being a cannibal, and you're going to say that that's us? No, that's not us.
Let's take this right here.
That is not us.
Here
He's talking crazy
people,
right now.
No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you one, and I'm going to agree with you to disagree with more understanding. Stimulus package.
You got to talk in there.
Stimulus package. Increase the amount of money that we got during COVID and the pandemic. Bunch of people got thousands of dollars. 10,000, 5,000, 15,000, 20,000 per household. Let's talk straight. All they did was go out and get crab boils, buy new sneakers, buy a TV, do whatever they did. Even though money and resources are not what's going to correct our situation, because
so what did you get with yours?
Wait a minute. I'm going to tell you what I got.
Tell the people what you got with yours.
I'm going to tell you what I got. I bought my kids. I made sure they had clothes. I made sure they had sneakers, and whatever came up missing, however it came up missing, and I don't want to deal with the subject. But what I can tell you is what I didn't do was I didn't run out and blow it. That's a fact. That's a fact.
But did you do anything to keep your kids on a better?
I could have done more. But what I didn't do was I didn't waste it.
According to you, you didn't waste it.
In order for me to say what happened,
according to you didn't waste it.
In order for me to say what happened with it, I would have to throw somebody under the bus, and I'm not willing to do that. But what I am going to say is this right here. What I had, I utilized it to some of what was better in my ability. But if I knew and I understood more, I would have done more. Before whatever happened, I probably would have sold more in an investment to that. But that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're pointing the finger saying that everybody else.
If you give a homeless person $100 million, pick 10 homeless individuals, right? Give them $100 million a piece. How many of them do you think that are going to take that $100 million and turn it into something positively productive?
Well, I could tell you this. It all depends. Hey, I could tell you this. I could answer that by saying this. It depends on the mindset and the education of those 10 homeless people. And the reason why that plays a significant part in this is because of the situation at hand. You can't give somebody $100 million and expect them to do the righteous thing with it when they don't have knowledge of self. A fool and his money will soon depart. So it has a lot to do with their education and their way of thinking.
Now,
so that's my answer to that.
That's your
Don't
answer,
play these
right?
games.
Now, I'm going to play this game. I'm going to play
Don't
this
play this game with me.
I'm going to play this
highly
game right
educated
here, right
brother.
now, right?
Don't do that.
So you got somebody in the hood, right, that hasn't had anything. He didn't have a mother. He didn't have a father at home. He had to fend for himself. He got in the game. He came up. He became one of the largest traffickers in the community. And he put his hands on millions, right? Put his hands on millions. Yet he still wound up in the same predicament. Why?
He wound up in the same predicament because of people, places, and things, and the education that he had himself.
And who is the controller of the people, places, and things? Who's the ultimate controller of your choice?
That individual that had the money is in control of it because that individual has the yay and nay say. So with the choice to say I'm going to do this with the money and the choice to say I'm going to do that with the money.
So you saying that the person is the and what influenced him is the blame, right? And what was there. So you say that for the negative,
I
right?
say that to say that.
So when you win, why you don't blame me? When you win, why you don't blame that person? Them same people that you blame for your bottom and for your demise and for you losing, why you don't blame them for your come up?
How could I blame them for the come up when I make the decision myself to do the righteous thing?
All right,
So
there it is. There.
But you gotta let me speak.
He answers the question.
Right.
They
didn't hear it, though. They didn't hear it because you cut me off.
Put
it up there.
You made the decision. You made the decision.
Of course.
Right. But see, when it comes to something positive, it's you. But when it comes to something negative, it ain't you. It's somebody else.
No.
Yeah.
When it's something negative, listen. You got to listen now. When it's something negative, right, and you have someone touch hundreds of millions of dollars, right, off of the drug game, right, and the guns, right, the person that put them there are responsible. This is why they call it a conspiracy, right? So that they can get people. We're not going to let them off the hook. They planted them drugs there, the guns there, and they also planted signs there within 1,000 feet of a school. Everywhere is 1,000 feet of a school. They did that by design. So they're held responsible too. They are in the conspiracy. And the reason why, hey, listen, the reason why they're in the conspiracy is because they put the drugs there, they put the guns there. And they left it there with us in poverty, knowing that we're going to do what we have to do necessary to survive. So the government needs to be charged with the conspiracy as well as the culprit, as well as the person that's pushing it. And I'm going to tell you why. Hold on. I'm going to tell you why. We don't own planes and poppy fields and things of that nature. It all's coming in through them. The same thing that happened with Freeway Ricky Ross. You understand me? This is all by design, so these people need to be held accountable. I'm not trying to sit here and say the government is the ultimate thing of all of us for being failure. I'm just saying that they are the spark that put us in these situations. Do we have the ability to get out of them? Yes, we have the ability to get out of these situations without them. But it's going to be a bigger struggle without the help and the assistance of this reparations.
And I'm not arguing.
Of the reparations. You know, we need those reparations.
But how you going to listen, so what I'm saying to you is, you said all of that, and I agree with you with additional information. People, listen. You are willing.
We got 3 minutes to wrap it up.
You are willing to say that in lieu of all of that happened, how you got in that predicament, right? But the same people that you blame for that are the same people that set up the structure. So guess what? You didn't have money one day and you decided and you took your free will and you decided, said, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm not going to sell drugs anymore. I'm not going to rob anymore. This little bit of money I got, or I don't have any money. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to work and I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get an education and I'm going to grind from the bottom to the top and I'm going to learn how to make wise choices and wise investments, but I choose not to do that anymore. But that structure and that environment for you to bring that about is the same individuals that set up that structure and that environment that you chose into you for you not to accomplish that. So what I'm saying is, ultimately, at the end of the day, you and me are the problem. The environment may help you to do one thing or the other, but where good is, evil is always present. Where right is, left is. It must be so because the spirit of truth, and you know that he gave us the free will, which is the ability to think, choose, and decide in between one thing and another, between good and bad. So if you're going to blame him for the bad, you got to give him some homage for the good. That's all I'm saying. Stop blaming individuals and let us take our responsibility, especially Western Black America. Stop looking for the 40 acres and a mule. Stop thinking and saying just because they did this and they did that, that if they don't do this and they don't do that, we can't do better. That's the setup. That's the fall. You can do better if you choose to do better. Even when better is not readily available for you, it's still there to be found. All you got to do is look for it. How many people, when they went looking for the gold in the gold rush, dug up thousands, hundreds of thousands of tons of soil? Some of them came up blank. Some of them came up rich. Oil, same thing. Oil's over here, up, looking 10 years. Ain't find no oil. 10 years later, somebody else, 1 year, find some oil. The point is, you are the controller of what you do, no matter what anybody does. And until we understand that we have the ability to wake up, that we have the ability to get out of the way, that we have the ability to be able to do something different, even if there's a process in play of that, and there's a lot of things that play a part in that, but ultimately you talking about getting to the root is, we are the root, bro.
Okay. We about to get ready to wrap it up. I'm gonna get my last speak. I'll let you say something now.
I'm good.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah, Moan on here. 21st Street, Moan on here. Peace.
All right. So now, Mo, Spanish Mo.
Nito brother.
Yeah, tell him I said what's up. Tell him it's Ali, man.
Said what's going on. He know he
my cousin.
Yeah,
he know. That's my guy right there. So I'm going to say this, right? And I'm going to sum it up with this right here, right? I understand that we have the ability, right? And we have this free will to do right or wrong with our free will. Yes. But when you put certain obstacles in our way and we got to feed our babies, and when we got to feed our babies and the government have these things there to entice us, we're more likely going to go into survival mode. And we're going to use our free will to protect our offspring. This is just how it goes. So they put all of this in place so well that how can you sit there and no matter what drug you have on you, you're caught within 1,000 feet of a school zone? That is by design. So these people have to, whenever anybody get locked up, I will fight for them. I will tell them the government, the state, they need to be the co-conspirators. They're in the conspiracy too. Because you put that sign there. So you set me up. You part of the conspiracy. Yes, it's coming from your boy Messiah the Poet. Because at the end of the day, how you going to sit there knowing I don't own planes? You part of the conspiracy. Come on in here with me. Call it what you want. But you part of the conspiracy. Who wrote this law? Who set it up? Who put it there? Y'all need to come on in. Congress people. All of y'all got to come in. There's nobody that can escape the conspiracy law. And if you want to get technical, we're going to make it a RICO. Because I need them all. I need to get them all. All the ones that...
Mayor Adams just escaped.
Listen. Yeah, Mayor Adams...
Cuomo escaped.
Right, listen. But, hey...
Go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, the government is definitely part of it. But I'm not saying that we can't rise without their help. We don't need their help. We can do it alone.
We can do it easier with their help.
Right. With our reparations. Just give us our reparations. You don't want us, give us land on our own.
So what if we never get
the
reparations?
Give us our land of our own.
But what if we don't get it? Do we stay where we at?
No, we keep fighting.
All right, fighting how? Fighting amongst each other?
No, that's something we got to stop. We can't fight amongst each other. We can't do that.
So when we going to stop that?
I understand.
When we going to stop that? We can't shut down 4 blocks from 20 dudes beefing. How are we going to stop that on the whole planet?
Well, New Direction is doing something good, and the other one, the ones?
New Direction after mine, because I was New Direction before there was New Direction.
Yeah, but New Direction is doing a good job.
Excellent.
You got New Direction. You got the other. What's the other ones? Gloves up, guns down. Guns down, gloves up. And then you got the other ones. It's just a few brothers out there.
So when we going to come to the table and stop doing this divisionative work? And listen, I agree with all of that, right?
They're doing something.
They're doing something, but here's the thing. Even in all the good works that they're doing, they got their idea and their agenda. They're helping some, right? This group over here has their idea and their agenda. They're helping some, but they're over there. This group over here is helping some, and they're doing their idea and their agenda. But when are those sides going to come together so that we can have the force of one fist? So we can be a 5 fingers and be a fist instead of being 5 fingers.
Okay, well, that's easy. That's an easy fix right there. Once you understand this knowledge right here, you will never go wrong. Once you understand, he said, how could you come together when everybody going this way, this way, and that way, right? And how can we come together as one? Easy. When you get to understand knowledge of self and understand that you is God, and you understand when you roll those dice and you say, hey, guess what, brothers? 6 and 1 is 7. I took 6 and 1 to get to the destination. Hey, I rolled the dice. 5 and 2. Hey, brother, that's 7. That 7 got me to the same destination you at with the 6 and 1. Hey, brother, I rolled 4 and 3. That 4 and 3 is 7. It got me to the same destination, brother. And then you say, oh, I rolled the dice. I got 7 ones. It got me to the same destination. So we all could still be going in our own different directions, right?
And you think we
and
still
as we
win?
going in our different directions, we get to the same address. Ain't that funny? You took this way, that way, this way.
Right.
We all got there.
Right.
So now, once
it
we
wasn't
get there,
efficient.
it is efficient.
No, it's not efficient.
Let me cook. Once we get to the destination, because we all got the same address, we just got there 5 and 2, 3 and 4, 6 and 1, 7 ones. When we got together and we got to that address, now it's time to get on the same page. And I'm gonna tell you how it works. And we all get there, we get on the same page according to Mr. Truth, Teacher King. He says the Bible is the key, right? Okay.
I said truth is the key.
No, if the truth is the key, the Bible, right? So in the Bible, you have what? A lot of versions of the story, huh? And it's all in one book. Hold on, it's all in one book.
It's in the Quran too.
No, let me cook. Don't do that. So this is when I speak the truth. He want to cut me off, but that goes to show that Satan is present at all times, and there's no way to get around it. So the Bible has, it has different books all in one book, right? So if you could put all that stuff in the Bible and make it work and say that the book is pure, then why you can't roll 5 and 2, 7, 3 and 4, 7, 6 and 1 is 7, 7 ones is 7, and we get to the destination and we come together like the book of the Bible and the Quran and all that. Are you kidding me?
And I could say
we could do it.
And I could say this, if that's the case,
we could do it.
Why the nation of God's earth ain't lead us to the promised land then? Because they're good at that. They're skilled at that. So that's not the issue. Here's what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying that each compartment does not have good intentions and some good information generally and in some areas specifically. But if that's the position we're going to take, then we got to stop this Queen Latifah mode, this UNITY. We got to stop screaming unity. Because when you got 9,000 people doing 9,000 different things, and it's all at some point adding up, but nevertheless, it's never bringing the camaraderie of the community together as a whole. In the now, not the later, the now, right? Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. Well, that's not unity. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to the public. You're lying to the community. You're lying to your constituents. You're lying to your voters. You're lying to those individuals that come and purchase service from you or that you extend services to. You're lying. Stop asking for us to be in unity. Stop saying this Rodney King, can't we all just get along? How we going to all get along if we don't all think alike? Tell me. If we don't all move in one accord, how are we going to accomplish that? Okay. Tell me.
I'll tell you how we could do that right here. I'll tell you how we could do that. That's easy. Once again, it's always easy for me. It's real so easy and simple. Okay, it was a guy by the name of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? So this is me speaking right now. It was a guy by the name of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? They say, oh, no, you know what, these Negroes, such and such, you know what, we don't want them sitting at the front of the bus. They got to sit at the back, this, that, and third. And then it was a lady by the name of Rosa Parks decided to, hey, man, I'm not going to the back of the bus. So Dr. Martin Luther King came up with a great idea. He said, hey, we hit them in their pockets. And he said, we hit them in their pockets. What did he do? We all stopped riding the buses. What did that consist of? It consists of UNITY, unity. What did it do? It hurt their pockets. What did they do? Hey, I'm sorry. Y'all can sit in the front of the buses. So that goes to show that it can work. What is he talking about? So unity is a must. What do we do to conquer anything? It's power in numbers. When you got the right amount of numbers, you shall prevail.
And I agree.
When you play football, the one with the most score win. When you play basketball, the one with the most score win. What is he talking about? Unity will always bring about a great result. The power is in numbers. I don't know what he talking about.
But here's the thing. I just said that. And what I'm going to say is, listen, people, and I'm going to say this, and we're going to go with this, right?
Yeah, sum it up so I can get my last words in. Sum it up.
Just said
but be short with it.
He just said what
Short
I
with
said. How do we accomplish the unity when everybody is scrapping for their piece of bread based on their own thinking and their own mindset? What I'm saying is it can be accomplished. It can be accomplished. He said, hit them in their pockets. That's one of the things Dr. Martin Luther King, one of the things Malcolm talked about, Dr. Umar talked about. I tell you this, that is not the result. It's a way in, but no matter how much money you get, they're never going to sell us anything that's ever going to get us recognized at the table. Let us understand that. We can't outshoot the bullet maker, so you can stop that. That's not going to happen. The only way that we have this is to come together in truth and righteousness. Can we stop working? Let me ask you a question. I was talking to my mother about this today. How many people you think really going to stop working because they know they got to feed their families? How many people do you think are going to do that to let them know that we mean business?
Really talk.
How,
shaking the table.
How many people do you think are really going to be willing to do that? And with respect, I understand. I get it. And this is what it is. This is the mark of the beast. Not being able to buy or sell, not being able to do this or that, except you accept the mindset and the way, the legislation that they have, except you receive the mark of the beast in your mind and in your hand, and with your efforts, you will not be able to have anything. People are not willing to go that far. I'm telling you. People are not willing to let their children go hungry. I understand. People are not willing to starve to get on top. People are not willing to say, I'm not going to work today. You know who's willing to do that? That was willing, and that's why they got their respect for a certain amount of time, but that's why they doing them the way that they doing them now. You want to know who's willing to do that? Them Latinos. That's how they came up with the Cinco de Mayo and all that stuff. Yeah, you remember about 10, 15 years ago when they decided, they said, we ain't going to work today. Even with the voting, I told the church, I told the mosque, I told Western Black America, and I communicated to anybody that will listen, not to give up the right to vote, but go down to the polls and stand together and say, guess what we not doing? We here, but we not going to put nothing, and we ain't punching nothing. We not punching nothing. Why? Because the gig is up. We done with that. We respect the right of what was earned to get us there, but we know now that it's a farce. But you can't get people to do that. You can't get people to agree because everybody has their own mindset. Everybody is doing that which is right in their own mindset. And the end of that way for any individual is death, 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 death. That's all I got to say.
You sure you done? Because when I start talking, you know you're going to cut me off.
I'm done for now.
No, because we summing it up, so I want you to get your last out.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing else to say. I mean, if we got to go to, when you go to sleep tonight, whether this was the conversation that had the greatest oration in it, whether or not it had the greatest whether it was the greatest speech of all time or not, we got to be willing to figure out, are we willing to give up us to accomplish the better for us? Are you willing to give up you for the movement? Are you willing to lay down? Are you willing to lay your paycheck down? Are you willing to lay down the fact that you might not be able to put no food in your cupboard because you're going to tell them we not playing your game anymore? And guess what? We know in order to get that done, we got to stop accepting what it is that you are offering us.
How much money
tell
do
me.
black people make overall in the world?
GDP. What's the GDP?
What's the what?
GDP. Right here in America for black people. What is our gross over all of goods, products, and services?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, right? Because we gotta wrap this up, right? But I'll say this, right, for the record, right? We have enough black billionaires. We have enough money between all of us together, right? All of the black people in the world. I'm saying in the world. We have enough money to come together, buy our own land. We have enough land. We have enough things, but it goes back to what you said. We all have to be on the same page, though, which will be a difficult task for us to do. Yes, it will be a difficult task for us to do. But what we have to do is the ones that don't want to participate in it, they might have to be executed, right? So that's why I said I do agree that they have to get out the way. Because we have to get the people that's willing to have an uprise. And I'll say that to say this, right? If you know anything about the Roman Empire, you will know that the Roman Empire got rid of everybody that they did not want in that book. Whoever was teaching about Enoch or whoever, we don't want this in there, we don't want that. They offed them.
got rid of a lot
They
of them. Not
offed
all of them.
everybody that they did not want in the scripture, right? So they was offering people to get what they got. And that's why the Roman Empire was the best and ruled for so long, because of the simple fact that they was annihilating the people that did not want to be on one accord with them. So I would say this. Us as a people, we need to start coming together. We need to start raising our babies, and we need to teach our babies as babies the truth about what's going on. And we need to tell them what they need to be into, then letting them go sit there bouncing the ball, football, basketball, baseball. Nah. We need to get them educated on what we need them to do for the task at hand, for us to come together and for us to come together to conquer and to control our own destiny.
So
it's in the hands of our youth.
And
with that being said, I'm going to end this podcast by saying this is Yin and Yang podcast.
Somebody call Oprah, Tyler Perry, and them and tell me why they ain't getting together. That's what you do.
Right.
Call me, tell me why they ain't getting together. Because you got all these millionaires and billionaires. Why we still ain't getting it done?
Right. So it's going to be hard to end this show, but I'm going to have to try to end it one more time. Go ahead and speak your piece. And if you're sure. Okay.
That's the short.
No, you got to talk in there.
You said we got all of this money and we got all of these millionaires and these billionaires already, right? So why haven't they formed Voltron? You know why? Because they know better. That's
right.
Why.
Well, if they form Voltron, you and I know that the powers that be will get rid of them.
So they scared.
Right, they're scared. But that's what I'm saying. We have to. That's why I said we have to raise. We have to raise the generations of Nat Turners. We have to raise the generations of Harriet Tubmans. This is what I'm. Excuse me. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Hey, right here. This is why I'm telling you, all the viewers that's watching me. This is why we have to raise the Nat Turners, the Harriet Tubmans, the ones that's fearless. Because if we don't raise them babies to be that way, we're going to suffer for years and years to come. Like the Willie Lynch letter in the 1712 on the banks of Jamestown, Virginia. He had a bag of tricks. And he said, if it's applied properly, it will last for 300 years. That was in 1712. 2012 came and gone. But he did say this also. If it's applied properly, it will last for thousands of years. Rather that was a white man or not, or a black man that put that out there, that method and bag of tricks still is effective to 2025. So I would like to say, I appreciate the audience for watching. This is Yin and Yang Podcast. This is your brother Messiah the Poet and Teacher King. And get used to us because we're going to give y'all a lot of information.
Peace.
We out. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.